Welcome back to Civil Defiance. Look around you. You think you're living in a marketplace of ideas? You believe you have a voice, a choice, a sacred vote that means a damn thing? You're adorable. Tonight, we're tearing down the stage curtains, ripping off the grease paint, and exposing the political vaudeville act you call democracy. Because the fundamental, infuriating truth is this: your politicians aren't fighting each other. They're working for the same corporation, the corporation of control. They are the two faces of the same coin, and that coin is called perpetual power. I'm not talking about incompetence. I'm talking about collusion. I'm talking about a deep structural agreement that transcends every election cycle. They have given you the illusion of a war between the red team and the blue team, but the real war is them versus you. And the reason you keep losing is because you keep choosing sides in a conflict that was rigged from the start. The great prophet of our time, George Carlin, said it best and most simply. And for that, they tried to dismiss him as a comedian. He told you, the politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have owners. Think about that. Owners, not representatives, not public servants, owners. You're presented with the two grand teams. They argue about bathrooms, flags, and who's the real threat to the republic. It's magnificent political theater. It's designed to keep you emotionally invested, constantly outraged, and crucially distracted. But what do they never fundamentally argue about? Do they ever argue about truly auditing and reducing the military-industrial budget? No. They argue over which country gets the next batch of bombs, not whether the bombs should be made in the first place. Do they ever argue about dismantling the Federal Reserve, the IRS, or the massive surveillance apparatus? No. They argue over how to allocate the money they're taking from you, not whether they have the right to take it. Do they ever argue about putting actual constitutional limits on the Patriot Act or government surveillance? No. They argue over whether the data being collected should be used against your neighbor or you. This is the Uni-Party of American rule. The Democrats and Republicans are not adversaries. They are co-managers of the American state. Their job is not to represent you. Their job is to manage your discontent and funnel your political energy into two pre-approved, ineffectual channels. Let's move beyond the rhetoric and look at the actual function of the government. This is where the conspiracy becomes undeniable. Look at the numbers. I challenge you to find the significant differences in legislative behavior once the cameras are off. Lobbying and corporate funding, both parties rely on the same handful of major donors: big pharma, Wall Street, defense contractors. Do you think Pfizer cares whether a Republican or a Democrat is in office? No, they care that the health insurance system remains complex and profitable. The money flows through two different pipes, but it comes from the same reservoir and empties into the same political pockets. The average sitting member of Congress spends over 4 hours every day fundraising. 4 hours. They are beholden to their sponsors, not their constituents. The continuing resolution racket. This is the ultimate proof of collusion. Every year, when they fail to pass a budget, they rely on a continuing resolution CR to keep the government open. This allows Congress to fund massive, multi-billion-dollar agencies without specific debate or scrutiny. It's an easy, bipartisan escape hatch. They vote together to keep the lights on and keep the government machine grinding forward, avoiding the hard votes that might actually distinguish one party from the other. The growth imperative. Every administration, red or blue, sees executive power grow. Look at the past 50 years. Every time a new crisis emerges, a pandemic, a war, an economic crash, new agencies are formed, new powers are asserted, and they are never fully relinquished. They will fight tooth and nail to gain power, but they are a uni-party when it comes to retaining it. The government's primary function is to grow. It is a biological imperative for the state. If you want a perfect historical example of the Uni-Party, look at the post-World War II era. This is when the modern military-industrial complex and the security state truly solidified. After World War II, America could have demobilized and refocused entirely on domestic prosperity. Instead, under the guise of the Cold War, both Democratic and Republican administrations, from Truman to Eisenhower to Kennedy to Nixon, agreed on a few core, non-negotiable principles. Massive standing military, a permanent, expensive, global military presence funded by unprecedented levels of peacetime taxation. A deep state of intelligence agencies, the proliferation and unchecked growth of the CIA, NSA, and FBI, all operating with little to no public accountability. Global interventionism, the consensus that American power must be projected everywhere, always resulting in decades of conflicts and endless spending. They fought over social issues, they argued over economic regulations, but on the single most critical issue, the expansion of the American empire and the permanent surveillance state, they were fundamentally aligned. The consensus was set, and once that consensus is set, your vote changes nothing. Your outrage, your protests, your votes, they are all absorbed by this twin-headed beast. You vote out the guy who raised taxes, and you get the guy who increases surveillance. You're trading one cage for an identical cage with a different colored ribbon on the lock. Carlin was right. The choice is an illusion. The entire structure of political debate is a diversion designed to prevent you from looking at the men and women behind the curtain. The government doesn't exist to serve you. It exists to grow and expand its power over you. And every politician across the aisle is simply a willing, well-paid foot soldier in the endless war against your sovereignty. Wake up. Stop watching the show. Stop choosing between Tweedledum and Tweedledummer. This is Civil Defiance. Think about what you've been told to believe. We'll be back next week.